Hey, it's the Fosters After Show on AFTERBUZZ TV. Tonight, we're breaking down Season 4, Episode 2, called Safe. And here to help us do it is Louis Hunter, who plays Nick, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Fosters After Show, baby, we're back. It's Season 4, Episode 2, called Safe. Welcome, everybody. We've got a special guest. It's Louis Hunter. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Louis plays Nick, as everybody knows. We're going to delve into Nick's character, the episode on the whole, but let's knock some intros out. I'm Jeffrey Masters. I tweet from Jeff Masters 1.
I'm Hannah Prichard. I tweet from @TheHotShotDude.
I'm Stephanie Giorgi. I tweet from @StephanieGiorgi.
I'm Jillian Leff, and I tweet from @JillianLeff. And during the show, feel free to use my Twitter handle @JillianLeff or the hashtag ABTVFosters, and I will be checking as much as I can. If you have any questions for Louis, send them my way.
Absolutely. If you want to watch live, you're not doing so now. We tape at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We also love reading your comments on iTunes and YouTube, so we love hearing from you. Thank you very much. So, Louis.
Yeah.
We're gonna start off with a softball question.
Okay.
Okay. Because we have some depth to get to.
Yes,
some
we do.
heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Question number 1. You were born in Australia.
Sydney, Australia, yeah.
Why do you not sound like Australian?
Well, a couple of reasons. My dad is English, for a start. And then secondly, I was obsessed with James Bond growing up, so I tried to have, we were just saying, having diction lessons. I kind of gave myself my own diction lessons by trying to copy Roger Moore and Sean Connery and then Pierce Brosnan. And then, I don't know, it just kind of became a mid-Atlantic thing. So it was quite subtle as I moved over here. And then when I got here, I finally needed to kind of bring it all the way American when I went to Starbucks and tried to order a coffee, and they were like, what was your name? What? I can't understand. So after like the 10th time getting my name wrong, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going full American now.
So is this what you talk in your normal life, or are you just doing this for like on camera, like interviews?
Oh no,
and
this is my real accent. No. You know what? I actually think that the Australian accent suits some people more than others. It suits Russell Crowe. It suits him. I don't think it suited me. So this is my accent now.
Okay. Do you think it suits Jordan Rodriguez?
Yeah. I feel like he's in character. I mean, well, not in character, but I think he tries to stay with the accent as much as possible on set. So I haven't really heard him in his full-blown Australian yet.
It was when we had him in for the interview. I was like, "Oh my God, he's Australian."
Yeah, I had no idea. I thought he was doing an accent for a second.
It's like Maia Mitchell. Oh my God, there's so many Australians on that show.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my God, they
Maia's
subtract
another
it.
one where I feel like she stays in the accent. Just to throw her off, sometimes I'll try to like shoot her some Australian words. She's like, stop, I need to stay in it. Stop.
Love that.
Oh my God, I love that. So this episode was a continuation of the premiere with the bringing the gun to school, and we ended that storyline. In the finale for season 3, though, we see that the gun is in the glove compartment box. So for all we know, you could have shut the glove compartment and driven home, and we never would have seen it again. Did you know from that get-go, though, they were going to have you bring it to school?
I didn't, because there were a couple of options as to where they were going to go, how it was going to work. So I was kind of left wondering myself at the end of that season what exactly would happen. And I think the way that they dealt with it was probably the best way. They had the real threat of that going down, but you also didn't have to see the bloodshed of feeling the consequences of that scenario.
And I guess now that we think about it, you actually didn't ever bring it into the school.
No, actually, he did.
No, I did.
Did you?
Yeah, when he was with Mariana.
Oh,
And it was in his back. Yeah, and he was sharking her.
Yeah.
Oh.
There was also that scene where it comes
I take it back.
right behind Matt in the classroom, and I've got it in the bag.
Oh, and Jesus takes the bag.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything I said was a lie.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, Jesus almost ruined everything. Can you imagine the bag split and the gun just like spinning on the floor? Be like, it's not mine. It's not
And then
mine.
it would have and then Jude picks it up. Oh my God.
Well, last week we obviously talked quite a bit about the premiere and just sort of your performance in it, and you were in such distress, especially in that Jesus scene. We see you're clammy and sweaty, and how, as an actor, do you get yourself to that place?
Look, I mean, being the age that I am, and having gone out enough to feel what it's like to be up all night, I know there is a feeling of your body kind of breaking down in the sweat, and that you kind of going hot and cold, and you just feel awful. And outside of the emotional aspect of what the character was going through, I knew that he had stayed up all night. He was probably drinking. He felt like crap, and so I needed to feel the physicality of that as much as possible in order to just lend the realism of what was going on inside. You know, I mean, sometimes you can have lots going on, but if you can't match that outwardly in your physicality, it doesn't translate as well. So I actually took a bunch of pre-workout and went into my trailer and just shadow boxed for like half an hour, 45 minutes beforehand, and just started sweating like crazy, much to the distress of the makeup ladies. Sorry about that. But yeah, and it just felt right. It just felt, and then by the time I got to the scene, I cooled down a bit, but there was still that kind of clammy aspect. And it looked, I think it looked great. I think it paid off.
No, it did.
Yeah, it really, really did.
It must be fairly bittersweet too as the actor that you're tackling such a unfortunately timely thing, and it's desperate and serious, and yet also for an actor it must be like a dream role.
Yeah, well, it's not the kind of role that I thought this character would be. And even with The Fosters being a show which deals with so many amazing themes and so many amazing issues, current day issues, that, I mean, what other show deals with the kind of issues that this show deals with, present day, for the kind of demographic, the age groups that it deals with?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time, every week actually.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
so even for a show like that, I was still like, okay, well, I mean, I'm going to be on this kind of network, and it's this kind of a character, and I'm, whatever. But then thank the gods that the writers kind of saw. I don't know if it was partly the potential in me as an actor, or just the way that they saw the storyline progressing, or I don't know how it ended up coming to the conclusion that that's where it would be, but I'm so glad that they did that, because I got to flex a muscle that I probably haven't done in any other past roles, and it was great for me to do. I felt pretty liberated once I had finished it. It was nice.
We love that.
I think
That's awesome.
the depth of the acting job too. Obviously we saw these really intense moments, but we also saw these lovable moments out of you, these scary risk taker moments. Like, I feel like you got to do a little bit of everything with this role.
Yeah, it started off pretty, there was a kind of Nick that was like this he wasn't the most savvy, emotionally intelligent guy, he was a bit simple-minded perhaps, but I don't think it was the fact that he was simple-minded. I think that it was that he played a role of what was expected of him. He's this kind of brain dead rich kid who kind of just likes to have fun and take risks because he can, and I think that was a role it was a self-fulfilling role that he put on himself. But you can see there's moments when he talks about his father and the pain there, and his history with his family, that comes out, and you have to have a level of sensitivity to be able to be even aware of those things. So I don't think that it was that he was an unemotionally intelligent person. I just think that he was kind of guarding it, maybe.
I think so too. I felt like after he was talking about the voices in his head later in this last episode, I'm like, oh, he's probably, that's at that age, it's when your schizophrenia starts like setting in, which I'm assuming his character had.
Right.
And I think that you were like really emotional intelligent, because you were definitely catering the same way you might have with your father's with the character's father, catering to what he wants to see from you, and then the way you switched it up for Mariana, like the next day.
And it's that trigger thing too. It's like you're saying, like as soon as there's something that reminds me of your past, like that of being surprised or being betrayed, the way that his father betrayed him by not being there or by hurting him or whatever, someone that he should be protecting him or being there as a loving family member or friend or girlfriend in this case. It just triggered everything to back in his past, and he just started, going off. You don't know where he comes from.
Right.
You don't know if he's been in and out of psych wards before. You don't know if he's been out of juvie before. You don't know. So this may be a reoccurring thing. You don't know.
Yeah, and like segue into the episode, was so effective to have Nick hidden for so much of it.
Oh, I know.
We just didn't know where he was.
Right. For this episode, the 402, you mean?
Yeah, for this episode in particular. Like, I was like,
I'm not like a scary movie person, but Steph, the entire, like, the hunter Steph, I was like, what the hell is going to happen right now? Every time she turned a corner, every time she heard a noise, I was like, he's going to jump out.
Yeah, it turned into the thriller episode, and then they had all of the handheld camera stuff, so it's like shaking, and like, I was like, bring the steady cam back. I can't do this. But I loved how they had the movie night together.
Yeah.
They brought so much levity in the discussion of their relationships, then Jude wondering, is everybody having sex but me?
I love that.
Me too. And Mariana having that guilt. What makes you think that I'm not a virgin? And it's like, oh God, not just seeing everyone getting sensitive the way they would in a regular family.
Yeah.
I love that.
And then when Steph collected their cell phones and said no computers and open doors, I like that all the kids left, and that's when Lena said, like, do you really think this is necessary? I love that she did not question Steph in front of the kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Steph said it, and she said, okay.
The relationship is
Mom
everything.
spoke up.
Yeah.
I know. It was
It's different.
great.
They've come very far as a couple.
Oh, we're so proud of them.
You think that's a big change for them?
I just think, you know, it's the trust, and, you know, Steph being in a situation like Lena dealt with trauma in the first episode, you know, having her wife run into an active shooter situation where she's dealt with stuff like that before, and Steph's gotten hurt, and, you know, this time fortunately it came out where everything was okay. But I think that them working together as a couple is really great, and for Lena to be like, okay, I trust you, go inside, see what's up, you know, see if he's in there, we got your back.
Yeah.
It was nice to see. And her just laying in bed, you know, and Steph walks in, is everything okay?
Yeah.
You know, it's just like,
Just waiting.
just trust.
Yes.
It's
I
trust.
know.
Very
And not that
routine.
we ever saw a lack of trust, but I think so much was going on, especially with Steph's cancer scare and everything like that, that finally I think that they're in a good place, besides sort of the tension that I suppose Brandon and Callie have put on them, which they kind of, again, avoided this episode.
Yeah.
And I think that it wasn't necessary. Like, I don't think they could have tackled the Bradley issue, you know, without Will tackling this Nick issue.
Yeah.
Right. It just wasn't the right time for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they cared, but they couldn't, not that much. Like, they just had to really focus on what was at hand.
I know. When they said that they should not tell the rest of the kids about this, ultimately Mariana did find out, though, but to me that just like was the red flag of like, oh my God, everyone's gonna find out and it's gonna be a big deal.
And it's just like another secret, you know? Like, I hate secrets because they always come out. It's a matter of time.
Listen, I'm fine with it because then it gives Bradley a possibility. So I'm like, you know what? Let's have everybody.
Well,
know.
I don't know.
I think it's gonna be great.
I hate to break it to you, Hannah, but I'm pretty sure I saw Callie kissing another guy in the promo that's not AJ or
Wait,
Brandon.
do we have a Bradley war going on here? Is this who's,
No.
Only him. We're on a
for
rally
and
of shit.
against?
Okay, I think war is a really strong word. Okay, Louis. So
You're right.
let's
It's
stop
just
there.
a battle because we're gonna win the war, babe.
Are you a Bradley supporter?
Why can't she be a single independent woman, right?
Right.
What an answer, huh?
That was. But you know what? Not really what I wanted to hear. So
We have had many people on this couch, and that is the first time someone
That
has
is.
rooted for solo Callie.
yeah, that's true.
I would say that she's a savvy enough chick to know what's up, and she doesn't need my input on that.
She is.
I
but-
do that.
Sounds like you practiced that in the mirror.
Yep. I feel like brush your shoulders off now. Like that was really good.
We're a smooth sailor, okay?
Okay, fans, you got what you wanted. He talked about Bradley, all right? That was like the one thing they're like,
Yeah,
will you just
it
get him
was.
to pick sides, please?
Yeah.
With like all of Nick's problems, if we can label them problems, they seem like problems to me.
Yeah.
Just with the dad and the stuff that indicates like possible schizophrenia, even though I hesitate to use that word just because they haven't labeled it as that. It reminded me, there's a podcast called Invisibilia that I believe NPR puts out, and they did this really fascinating study that they sent like emotion experts to the oil rigs, and they worked with their upper management and just all of the workers to talk about their feelings more and to open up and to not be macho men whose fathers expect things from them and like they burn warehouses down, and talking about their feelings. The oil rigs, I believe it's BP, they've had like an 87% decline in mistakes and like lives lost.
Wow.
So just like talking about your feelings, it just like was like, oh my God, Nick is not talking about his feelings. His father probably would not let him ever do that.
Oh, sure.
Well, I think we saw it too when we had seen his dad in the first episode when he came to the office and they were sort of questioning him about it, and he called Nick, and the tone at first was calm, and then it was like, don't F this up. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
You know,
Again.
and it snapped, and you could tell. So for me, the whole reveal at the end where you're crying in Mariana's arms, and you know, that just, it crushed me because you sort of know the root of it, and you know that this guy, you know, your parents really do have a large impact on you. As much as we like to suppress it, you are the environment that you grow up in, and you try and try, but you do hold some of those traits with you for the rest of your life. And it was sort of crushing because I can't imagine how many people can relate to your situation, the character situation. So that to me was just, it was crushing.
You know, I think if you're going back to the oil rig example, you know, you go to certain parts of America or any parts of the world really, and there's, you know, an acceptance of what is, you know, what you can show as a man and how revealing you can be, how sensitive you can be, how vulnerable you can be. You have to be this tough guy who, you know, splits logs or whatever. Or, and then there's other parts of the cities in the world where it's just like, there's almost a certain percentage of the population who miss that kind of old Don Draper type thing. But I don't think it's one or the other. It's not as if there's only one kind of
man
pressure to be a certain kind of man. You know, if you're born in a rich family and you know, even take like Cruel Intentions for example or something. You know, the two
siblings.
The two siblings in that. They're such a product of the money that they have. They almost feel obligated to be these, you know, I'm gonna have these weird experiments just because I can.
A reflection of their parents almost.
Yeah, exactly. And you can be a screw up in certain ways. But you have to be a cool screw up. You can't be a loser. You know what I mean? And that is something that came out a bunch, I think, between the relationship of Nick and his father. And then as soon as you know, this chick's leaving me for this other guy, there's nothing that makes you feel more insignificant and loserish than that. You know, so
it bums me out though because I come from a family where we're realist, and there's one part where when Nick's in the warehouse with his father, and he's just trying to look out for you by saying, or for your character by saying like, oh, she's playing you this and that, trying to give you a realism. But the difference is that like you don't know, you always have to like kind of really figure out where the kid's at. Because either you're gonna take it like, oh yeah, you're right, or you're gonna take it as like, oh my god, so then no one I'm just alone by myself. So it just
the irony of the fact is that he was kind of right. But,
he was, and I was
he
like,
had no idea if he was or not when he said that. So, I mean, him saying that, what was his intention? I don't know. I mean, it was probably nothing good. But then the irony is, you know, she did it. I don't want to say she played me. She didn't play me. But
likewise,
I felt like she did, you know?
I don't think she did either, but I'm saying he was just, I feel like he was trying to look out, but he's just not that type of dad. It's like, that's not how you do it. He's not an adult. Talk to him differently.
Well, if he really knew how to look out for me, probably a bunch of these problems in my life wouldn't have occurred in the first place.
Exactly.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, and then just juxtaposed against Lena and Steph. You know, they're going to bed at night, and Lena said, if anybody has any like problems or like wants to talk, like come to me.
I wrote that. I loved that part because she had to focus on the fact that everyone was in shock, and she was just like, please, no hidden feelings. And that was so smart. I would have never thought to say that.
One thing about that is this episode was so impressive to me because if you look at like a classic example of not necessarily like a stalker, but like a monster within sort of idea, like if you take Alien or The Thing, you know, they start tearing themselves apart from the inside. Everyone, whether it's a house or a facility or whatever, they'll start blaming each other. They'll start suspecting each other. They managed to have that kind of that fear and the paranoia, but they didn't do that. They weren't all like, you know, blaming each other. You saw like a tiny second of it, like whose team are you on or something.
Yeah, Mariana has
right, but that was it. The rest of the time they were a unit, you know, through and through. They didn't let the kind of the fear and this craziness kind of they didn't get swept up in the emotion and start blaming each other, which I thought was really beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what's great about, you know, discussing. Like, it may be exhausting, but that's why you have to lecture your kids all the time. Because oftentimes it's one ear and out the other, and sometimes you're lucky if they remember, and then they have situations like when the school shooting happened where Brandon knew what to do, where everyone knew what to do, you know?
Well, speaking of know what to do, I was really impressed with Mariana this episode, and talking to Nick. And she wasn't taught that, obviously, because when she was asked to recall what had happened by Jesus, she said, I don't even know what I said. And it's like, she did exactly what you are supposed to do. She was comforting, she was assuring, she, you know, I wish that we would have seen the part where you put the gun down. Not that we needed to, but I think just for me as a viewer, I would have liked to see sort of the tension there and the release of the gun and having her put it behind her. I loved the interaction. You know, you were obviously in pain. She was terrified, but also like, how am I going to deal with this? And we don't know if she was ever taught something like that, but I think it was a valuable lesson to the viewers that if you are ever in a situation like that, you know, people say when you face an attacker or something like that, you know, you're supposed to get personal with them. You're supposed to try to give as many personal facts about yourself as possible, so they sort of
humanize you.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly, and you're not just a thing.
Right.
That
You
they can
have
get
a
rid
name.
of.
You have a family.
Yeah, and obviously this situation was different because you guys were all so connected, but it just was so, I was so impressed because how, like, as a young female, I don't know if I could put myself in that place and do that. And she is so strong, and we've seen her grow so much.
Oh my gosh,
and
right.
I'm like, now I'm just even more excited to see where she goes from here. And obviously she's going to be dealing with some issues because this was some intense trauma that she faced, but like, what a great girl. Like, what a role model.
She de-escalated the situation, which is the best case scenario. You know, nobody got hurt, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's funny that actually on Twitter, I didn't expect this, but a lot of people were saying, you know, thank God she saved him. Thank God she saved him. And when I was shooting that scene, I never thought it like that. I thought about it like that. I was kind of just thinking she was reacting out of fear and just whatever. But she did. And, you know, she wasn't like a negotiator necessarily, but she held it together long enough where it could de-escalate and things could be okay. You know, and she did. She held it together really well. So cheers
And support,
for her.
I did actually wonder that, though, watching that part of it. I mean, I don't know what the actress had decided when reading those lines, but so much of it was her telling how she loved him and was going to be there for him, and they were going to be together, and she didn't want to be with Matt. And none of us know as of now if that's true or not. How did you take that, reading that? Like, did you feel like she was lying to you?
It's yet again another example of how amazing these writers are.
Yeah.
You know, to put you in a situation. I mean, that's the best things about writing is having a problem where there is no right or wrong. There is no, like, you know, it's definitely this or it's definitely that. There's pros and cons to both things. Yeah, she was lying to me. Maybe. It seems as though she's lying to me. You know, she says, I love you to Matt, blah, blah. So, yes, she probably is, but then there's a life on the line. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? So, me reading that, I took it, well, I had to believe that.
Right.
I had to believe that as a character in order to think that there was something worth living for. But me, as an actor reading it, I had my doubts as to whether she really means that or not, or to what extent.
I did too, and I kept thinking, no, don't say that, because
I know, I
then
kept going
you're
back
not
and
going to be
forth.
able to, you know,
Follow through.
thank you. You're not going to be able to follow through afterwards, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't matter, because right now you're troubled. Later you can be helped, and then you'll be able to understand that that wasn't the case.
Yeah, because the top priority in the
the
situation
top is to save his life, so it didn't matter what she said as long as you were okay.
And that's love in its own way, you know?
Yeah.
It really is.
Absolutely.
I mean, she could have been like, you're crazy, go ahead, do it. I don't care as long as you don't hurt me. She didn't do that, you know? She loved me enough as a person to try and...
I think everything that she said was a lie, and I think the writers meant it until the moment she said, don't break my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She may have not loved you, she may have this, but if you were to do that, you would break her heart.
Right.
Like, so I thought it was really, like, I thought they put it in the perfect, like, what she said first to what she said last was brilliant to me.
I love that. What's going on Twitter, Jillian?
So Judicorn Rising said Steph calmly getting Nick from the bed is also great, which we were going to talk about next. She just, you know, everyone wanted the character to be saved. They had just went through dealing with a death in their family. Jack.
Which they brought back as a ghost. You have no idea how thrilled I was.
I know, it's crazy because you mentioned it. So that was
Sorry,
weird.
keep going.
Yeah, so it's like everyone is looking out for each other, and I think that also goes back to the whole respect thing. Everyone is in a place where they respect each other for the most part, and you're just getting praise on Twitter for your performance, honestly. Everyone just can't talk enough about it. It's like, how has the reaction been for you? Like, you live tweeted yesterday, so what was that like?
You know, I've been telling everyone, like, I just started using social media. Social media and I didn't see eye to eye for long enough time. Not because I disagree with it necessarily, but because I wanted to figure out a way that would work for me. You know, I didn't want it to be one of those things where, oh, everyone's doing it, I should just get on it then, because I don't agree with that. But, you know, now that I have found a way that I can walk that line of taking the pros of it and leaving what I think is kind of detrimental to what I do as an actor, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to hear the praise of a performance, which I was personally proud of, especially these 2 episodes. You know, it's been really nice to hear all the feedback. And man, the fans of this show are they're great.
They are. They're diehard.
Great.
At I'm So Bradley said, I loved how healing the end of this episode was. It's a good way to put it.
Very good way to put it.
Really is a good way to put it.
I totally agree with that, although while this was not the point of the end, it was so glaring to me when they're standing on the front porch like holding each other that Brandon was missing.
I did not even notice.
Oh, really?
I did not notice.
It just felt like so incomplete because I'm so attached to the family on the whole. And I was like, oh, Brandon is not there to like have this like warm, beautiful moment of like rescue and like Nick is gonna be okay and like didn't kill anybody.
Between that and Jesus's reaction, which was like,
Right.
just like looking at like, Nick, man, I stuck up for you.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that was
we
his
were
friend
bros.
too. Jesus
No, I
didn't really have a
know.
friend until Nick came around.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was heartbreaking for me also.
I think there's still PTSD from the whole situation. I mean, I get the healing aspect. I get that. I mean, it's kind of it's conclusive. I understand that aspect, but it's also, I mean, you know, if something happened to me a week earlier of someone in my room holding a gun, I wouldn't be necessarily healed right away. You know, it takes time.
Oh, I don't think it was healing for you or any character. I think it was healing for the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, healing for the audience.
Yeah, just the resolution to know that, you know, this right now, obviously something else is going to happen.
Right,
because
but
it's
that,
TV,
your character's alive, that no one died, that there's going to be a chance of healing for everyone else.
I think that's the reason why the scene with you and Mariana in the room they kept cutting away from, because I think for like 3 minutes of like, you having the gun to your head and talking with her and her pleading would have been just way too much to watch.
Yeah.
You know,
the way Nick holds on to her too, especially like that's the part that got me emotional. Right when Steph wants to kind of grab her and he's like, no, and I'm like, oh my god, and that makes me
We
just
played
like so
around
sad.
a lot with that. We played around a lot with how hard he held on, and there was actually another take which I thought would have been interesting to show instead, where he didn't kind of let go until Steph really had to kind of pull, and then you kind of, you know, whatever. But it was, I mean, all of those versions were beautiful and different in their own way, you know.
I liked it. That was like probably the most emotional part for me for some reason.
yeah.
Let me hold that.
Hannah, you brought up Jack.
What? Yes. I think he is incredible. I'm still pissed they killed him off the show.
Yeah.
I want him back on. I think he's really good. And I'm so glad that they found a way to put him on. I don't care if it's in a ghost and it's like didn't think they would go that way because it's not really in the show's style. They're making it work. I'm thrilled.
I love that they did the dream thing because I think that's so real in real life.
Yeah.
That would happen. I feel like things like that have happened to me before, and especially because of the connection of
Steph and her dad.
Yeah, the connection of Steph and her dad, but more so when they find out that
Yes.
his aunt, he's like, you know, I didn't really know the kid, and so that's what Jack meant. He's like, I'm still, like, no one came to even get my ashes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was heartbreaking, and I've never thought about that with kids in the foster system and going back and forth between different households, like who actually claims them.
Right.
You know, that it was
And
heartbreaking.
if they
to me. I thought that was really-
pass, should something bad happen, where is that closure, you know?
Yeah.
And the mass grave thing, that like really got to me when Steph was like, well, what happened, or Lena was like, what happens to all the unclaimed?
Yeah.
That just, because you don't think about that type of stuff. You don't, obviously we like deal with death all the time, but it's like we don't think about those things that are so much more crushing.
Yeah. And I just thought that the scene was so beautiful between Steph and Jude because it was just a beautiful scene overall, but also on top of that, usually we get the one-on-one scene with Jude between Lena. And they have this amazing bond, and then I see it with Steph, and they also have the bond, and she can also be vulnerable. Like, we've seen her be vulnerable, but she's the tough cop.
Right.
And I just think it's so, I think Teri Polo is so talented. I think it's so great that this show is using like every facet of her abilities.
Lizette Escobar said connecting Frankie with the
Jack.
burial
Yeah.
from the season just showed that the moms were very healed, which is like, I totally forgot about Frankie, to be honest. And whenever they
did
bring up
too.
something like that, it's like, you know, now they're both, they have a home, they have a place, and that's the whole thing. And when Jude asked, I was like, oh my god. Like, first, I think Hayden's been killing it with, he's been dealing with like a lot of emotions and emotional stuff, but it's just, I don't even have words. Like, I just loved it. I loved how they did it. I loved how they wrapped up the storyline. Even if we don't get to see Jack again, there has finally been closure. Just like I felt like last week with the Jude and Connor closure. I thought that was closure. I thought this was closure. It's nice that we're sort of wrapping up storylines, because I think a lot of the time in shows, people hang on and hope, and closure is a good thing. You
Absolutely.
know, I think closure should be more accepting.
Yeah. And I appreciate that they do not like let these like little tidbits just like hang around. Like for last episode, this episode, I'm wondering what's happening with Lena at her job since she let a
Right.
sex offender into the school or into the warehouse around children. And then they brought up in the preview that they're going to be addressing that. So, yeah, it drives me nuts when shows just like have big things happen and like let it go.
Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, between like not sacrificing the quality of the show just for fan service sake, and then also, you know, tying up the things that need to be tied up. I think they do a good job of that.
Yeah, totally. And then other things that they're not tying up are the rally we mentioned. We have to talk about that Mariana now knows about Brandon and Callie.
I think she handled it perfect. If I was Mariana, I too would be very upset about it because it takes away from the family that they had, you know, because something like that happened. It's heartbreaking because I'm sure she knows how complicated it's going to be, but at the same time, like, damn, does that make you my sister? Like, I don't know. It's just, it got weird. I never saw it to be weird until someone else knew. It was okay when it was a secret. And now I just am uncomfortable.
Because you're right, we've never seen it from another sibling's point of view before.
Or even Steph and Lena.
Yeah, I thought that
It's just so much more real now.
Yeah, even Brandon had said, like, you just don't get it. And they're like, yeah, we don't understand. Like, I don't get it at all. Why'd you do it?
I thought Mariana's cheating on the family comment was really, I was like, never thought about it that way.
Exactly.
But I also never like related this to Wyatt. That she's had her like indiscretions too.
Right.
I know, I like
But
that.
it's like not the same.
Not the same at all, but like in her mind, like she has now slept with somebody that she shouldn't have, and that's
No,
the
but
same thing.
she said that why? Because that betrayed Callie. So Mariana's saying like I get
betrayal.
it, like betrayal,
Yes.
yeah, betrayed.
It's fine, everybody knows.
I
Okay.
swear I was born in America. But she, so I think that's the reason why she brought it up, and I was kind of nice because it was trying to let her know, like, look, we do bad stuff, but just realize where yours is at.
I always feel like Mariana says like, you know, I'm gonna be okay with it. It's just gonna take me a day.
Yeah,
And I like appreciate that honesty.
she's the independent woman that is okay to be alone.
I think all the women in this show are pretty... well, they are.
They are.
I mean, even though they've had their moments, like, you know, Mariana having her identity kind of crisis with the blonde hair and whatever, they all come around in the end and know who they are, you know? Even if they're not able to deal with, like, each problem as it comes their way that very second, you know? It's a learning process. They're all young, you know? Even the moms, you know, you never stop being at an age where you're like, oh, yeah, I can solve all the world problems now.
Right.
I've reached 50 years old. I got it all, you know?
And yet we still find out new things about Mariana all the time. Like this episode, she's a computer hacker.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that was
she had those
great.
talents.
Well, we knew she was a coder.
Yeah, so she could figure it out.
Yes.
I was gonna say, going on where he said, even as an adult, you're still learning. For example, Steph, like she forgot what it's like to. Lena didn't.
I thought you meant you. I was
Oh,
like,
how's
yes?
that?
What did I say?
No, you said stuff.
Okay, so I know every time she says Steph, I'm like, what? Oh, Steph. Okay. The going to see Brendan. You know, it was one of those things like, she should have waited, or like little things like that where she's learning and then she has to. It sucks
Yes.
for Lena to be like, well, why'd you do that? She's like, so you knew not to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have been so mad. I'm like, why didn't you tell me?
Well,
know.
I think it was like wrong, but I probably would have done the same thing. Because like your son is with some girl who has a kid, and you immediately want to be mama bear, and you want to be defensive, and you want them to be in your little space forever, and they're yours. And I don't have children, but I assume this is how it is because I see how my mom acts towards me and my brother. And it's just, I probably would have done the same. You know, she knew that something was off. She had told him, it's like a respect thing. So like, Brandon, where the heck is the respect?
Yeah.
You don't respect your mom. She says, don't do this. And then the rebellious side of him comes out. And not to mention that he paid for her apartment. So he's in way deeper than Steph even knows at this point. And I just feel like it's going to end up really bad for him.
I mean,
How'd you take that?
I think that it's one of the more like supportive relationships on the show. Like I'm really like hoping it'll blossom and thrive. My hatred of Courtney is well documented.
Right. I remember seeing something about another AFTERBUZZ show.
Oh, the rumors around Hollywood.
Your reputation precedes you.
As Goofy Devil said on Twitter, she's still married.
Yeah.
She's
I forgot
a
about that.
married 49-year-old. She has a child. She does
Liar.
not pay rent.
Oh, it was her ex 49. Is that right?
No, she's like 22 or 3.
Oh.
And he's a
okay.
little bit older, right?
I just think that she's too old for him.
How old is the ex or the
we don't
current?
know the age, but I
thought
would,
he
I
was
would estimate
a couple
90.
years old.
90.
Like give or take a couple years.
Right.
Just like a young 90, like a surfer 90. You
Well,
know?
like a hot
Hugh
90.
Hefner's brother or something.
We don't know his age.
Okay.
Okay.
And I know that Jeff will never find out because he doesn't care.
Well, okay, wait. I want to say something though, because Brandon's a very intelligent guy,
Yeah.
right?
She makes a lot of mistakes.
Okay, yes, he does, but we all do when we're teenagers.
Right.
He's an intelligent
yes.
guy. I mean, he's killing it at school. He's a concert pianist. He's great.
He's gonna turn out okay.
He's gonna turn out
Yeah.
great. So for him to date an older woman, it kind of makes sense.
I agree.
You know, I mean, maybe they're at each other's maturity level.
Are you
Yes.
are you connecting the dots between like mommy issues, who are like two like amazing older women with kids?
Subconsciously, maybe?
I like the way you think.
I just
Hunter.
think they're fine. I think they're fine. Whatever.
I just hope that he's wrapping it up because she is fertile. We know
Oh,
that.
hey.
I mean,
I thought you meant like wrapping up the relationship.
Me too.
Well,
By the
maybe
way,
that
so
too.
I loved it when she said the fertile part.
I have a grievance to air
Okay.
about Courtney that I've not aired yet.
Oh, here we go.
really?
Yes.
Here we go.
Go
Does
ahead.
anybody want to take a stab in the dark and guess what it is? It involves her new apartment and something we
Bed
were
frame?
shown.
No.
Bed frame. She doesn't have a bed frame.
No,
it's
but
on the
close.
floor.
It's so close. It's so close.
Headboard.
Why is the bed in the living room?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Furniture, boxes,
You just need to tell
Brandon-
me.
okay.
Just tell me.
lamps.
Okay,
Brandon needs to not kiss her on the shoulder like that.
she had a ruffled brown bed skirt.
On her air mattress?
Yeah, on her mattress. I hate bed skirts, but it's brown and it's ruffled. Are you kidding me?
But did she even have a bed frame?
Courtney,
to have
get out
a
of
bed
here.
skirt?
Yeah. You know what's weird?
need that
I
pen.
totally noticed that.
Did you? Is it
I was like,
horrible?
why did she have, that's funny that she has a bed skirt.
People don't have bed skirts anymore?
I
That's
would love
it.
a bed
That's
how
skirt.
you
it.
know
They need
she's
to break up
actually
right
fat.
now.
That's how you know she's so old. She has a bed skirt and it's brown.
But
Kidding
Jeff,
me?
adults don't sleep on the ground.
Oh. But take off the bed skirt.
I'll say that till I die.
It
But
made it look
also,
like a real bed though.
But like bed skirt point B to Steph's point, why is it in the living room? Brandon
That
just could
too.
not wait. He was like, here it
Exactly.
is. Put the bed skirt on, put the sheets on.
I just foresee this being very complicated. I feel like Brandon has a very noticeable car. The guy might hunt him down. This could end like in explosions. We don't know.
His other hand smashed.
And also, they share custody of the kid, the ex and Courtney. So where are they meeting up? At the Coffee Bean to drop the kid off? Like, she's not going to bring him, hopefully, to that house. And now that Brandon's living there, I don't know. Or, like, what if the kid says something like, well Brandon told me.
First of all, Brandon jumped the gun because Courtney never invited his out.
Right.
You know,
I had that written
when he
down.
said that, I was like, if I was Courtney in the room, I'd be like, oh, I would have walked out and be like, oh, sweetie.
Yeah, but Steph,
no, you're not going to live with me.
he paid the rent.
It doesn't matter. She
don't
could
know.
easily
He kind of
say,
has to let him since he paid the rent.
He's
think so?
excited.
Yes.
no, because he gave it to her as a gift. I'd be like, I told you not to do this for me, but if I'm going to live here, I have a child. I don't need you to live here with me. And I would set him straight.
If she's smart, she'll say, go back to your mom.
Yeah. And if she's really smart, she would have heard everything he said about Callie, and she's like, oh, sweetheart, you're still in love with her.
She knows. Are you crazy?
She's getting free rent. She'll never end it.
She said, you seem distracted.
She should move
Of
to LA if
course
she
I
wants that.
am.
Yeah, I'm paying rent. That's why I'm distracted.
Find yourself a sugar daddy then, mama.
So he has one more year of school.
No.
This is his senior year.
He's going to a senior. It's summer right now.
No, they're in their senior year. Remember the
They were at school. There was a school shooting.
Yeah.
Darling.
It's not funny. Oh, they're in their senior year right now. I was thinking we're in summer, the show's in summer. And I was wrong.
Wait, Maia and Brandon are in their senior year, right? And then what
I
about?
think.
No, I believe
sophomore?
Maya's her junior year.
really?
The twins are sophomore.
Oh,
Is that right?
Okay.
Do you
Yeah,
think?
because Brandon just turned 18, so he has to be a senior.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are the years here? Because we don't have the same thing in Australia. What is it? It was
It
So
ends at
in high
12.
school is
but
9
like
through
the 4
12.
years, the sophomore, junior, whatever it is.
Freshman,
what-
sophomore, junior, senior.
Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Okay.
So if Brandon goes to college next year, do we think they're gonna let Callie visit? I'm just kidding.
I know. What's good? Never mind. That's for predictions.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. It's a question, because she, you hear her say like, so you're gonna adopt. Like did you see them sitting there like not knowing what to do?
Yeah, and they said we'll come back to this. I have no idea what to
I don't think they're gonna unadopt
I don't think
her.
so either.
I don't either, but they still have to find a way for her to end up with Brandon because that really is going to end up happening.
Well, it's
so
gonna-
they have to find a way for that. It is going to end up happening.
I agree with you. I do not think they need to find a way because he's going to college soon, and then she'll go to college soon.
Right, but like I feel
This is gonna be like Dawson's Creek. 6th season, like on the 6th season is
My
gonna happen.
master plan
yeah,
has
I
them
know,
going
but
to
doesn't
college
she
and
have to
falling
be
in
like
love.
emancipated
plan?
in
Yeah.
some capacity? Like, is she going to stay his sibling and date him?
Once she turns
No, no, no.
18,
That's not going to happen.
Guys, in the plan, they each go to individual colleges, meet, fall in love, have their hearts broken, like become like strong, independent people, and
then
then
they
find their way
reunite.
back to
Oh,
each other.
right.
Technically going to be his
Hashtag
sister.
Bradley.
Hashtag rap.
wow, was that like
confused.
supportive?
I know. I don't know
It
how
was.
6-year plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, Bradley, sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's
Don't
okay.
at me on Twitter.
Don't.
Okay, last thing about Callie.
Yeah.
Showing a lot of PDA with AJ.
Yeah.
PDAJ.
I know.
PDAJ, exactly.
That's just because oh my gosh.
He's so cute.
She is so cute, but sometimes it's like she's such a dummy though. The way I'm like, man, if I was Lena and I walked him like, you know, he was like low key your foster brother too, right? Like so mad.
I just appreciate that they're able to talk honestly about their R&J love affair between Callie and Brandon. Mm-hmm. Like AJ knows.
Yeah, and he's still willing to help, and he cares about her. And I don't know, people like hate on AJ on Twitter, but it's like he's
Do
just
they?
he's
Do
just
they
cute.
really?
Like he's
Why?
cute. He treats Callie nicely.
But they're not gonna hate on Courtney.
He draws. I listen.
Courtney doesn't even have a U in her name. She's not even spelling it right.
I know.
There's
Right.
there's
Right.
no Courtney talk.
It drives me bonkers.
It's just crickets for Courtney. But people still talk about AJ and
There's so
Callie.
much hate. There's so much hate for Courtney.
Do you see towards the end of the episode? I always forget that this is just a show, and we're talking about it like it's my life.
Okay, yes, there's a lot of hate. It's not unwarranted.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, really?
But also,
I have
like,
the receipts. I have the receipts.
It's feelings. We just have a lot of feelings.
and it's funny because every guest we bring in here, and they're like, "Yeah, but have you met the actress?" And we're like, "No, but we're sure she's so
but
nice."
We're not worried about that right now.
Okay, y'all know Bob Theory? She has a Bob in her Twitter picture.
Oh
Mic
no.
drop. I'm out of here. Okay, we're going to
Touche.
segue into predictions. We are almost out of time. The point that we did not...
He has a theory. Pause.
Bob segue?
Oh,
Bob.
Theory?
So any woman
Bob
with a
theory?
bob haircut, for example, Justina,
Right.
are a BITCH.
Oh, okay.
On any television show, any movie,
They're always the bad
characters
character.
generally have
Always.
bobs.
So like
Think
Liza
about
Minnelli?
Jurassic World.
Liza Minnelli?
That's a pixie.
Liza
is it
Minnelli.
different?
Oh, sorry.
We'll give you the haircut naming stuff
Okay,
later.
okay,
But
okay.
remember. Okay, so before we get into predictions, to segue into that, we should discuss the fact that Mariana and AJ and Callie hacked, I'm doing hacker hands right now, into the Lost and Found website and redirected it to Justice for Jack.
Yeah,
That's going to be a big issue,
Sure.
yeah. I mean,
by
like,
the way.
I just started watching Mr. Robot today, so I'm like really into this whole like hacking conspiracy like situation. So excited for that. But also, we found out last week that Justina is not going to be in any of the episodes. Somebody said that. Remember
I
we
said
talked
that,
about
but it was
that?
unconfirmed.
She's gonna flee the
Oh,
country.
unconfirmed.
It was.
okay.
She had tweeted that she's
you
directing
know
an
that, or
episode, but
you
it's not
just
sure
know
she's in it.
I mean,
Right.
that's a good guess.
So this
they're close
might
to Mexico.
this
We're
might
very
be,
close to Mexico. They are very close.
Okay,
to
sorry, what do you got?
Again,
No,
No,
not
I'm
my
saying
life.
this might be something that we have to pause on. You know, Justina. Obviously, something's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Her check is out there. They know that they're working together. They're conspiring. I'm excited for this. Will it get back to Mariana and Callie and AJ on AJ's computer?
Oh.
I don't
I'm
know.
so afraid that it's gonna bite AJ in the butt.
They're using an
not.
anonymizer.
I know, but still.
What is that?
It's Mariana. Mariana's not part of like, you know.
Yeah, I think that it'll come back to bite them just in the sense that Justina is more powerful and like calculating than them. And
I
she
want
could
to
ruin
elbow her in
them.
her face.
I could just see her calling up like some like admissions board at a college and being like, "Do not accept Callie." In an accent.
What's that?
That's Australian. You don't recognize it? Come on. Okay, give me a quick prediction, Jillian. What do you got for us?
Okay, so
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Hello.
hey. So I saw Callie kissing another guy in the preview. Okay, so like that was a season preview. So this is what we're gonna see on the season of The Fosters. And obviously we don't have an episode next week, so we have to wait
Right.
2 weeks.
Did the guy look familiar to you at all?
No.
To me,
He looked familiar to
did he
you?
look familiar to you?
No, I didn't even. I can't remember it.
So like I need
it.
to understand this. So the Brandon thing is messy. The AJ thing, I guess she's not into it. Now she's bringing a third guy into the ring.
Yeah, but for the love of God, let him not be having to do anything with the foster care system.
I hope not. I don't know. I didn't recognize him. None of the fans called him out to me. I just watched the preview. It was pretty quick.
Let's hope it's a dream.
I'm excited to see what happens, just because I want to see how that guy, whoever he is, fits into this. And then I'm excited for Nick to come back, because we obviously see he's somewhere where he's getting better. And obviously we talked about those things that Mariana said to him, those promises, if you will, you know, I love you, I want to be with you, all these things. So what will happen? Is he going to be okay? Will he be put on some sort of medicine or regimen and he's going to be good and they will overcome this and be together? Or is it going to be something where Mariana deals with it for a while?
Right.
I have no idea. So I'm excited to see Nick come back, just because of how he affected Mariana so deeply.
Do we know how long we'll have to wait for a return of Nick?
We'll be there next week. Come on. Not next week.
I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
Soon?
I think you do, because I'm pretty sure you said it before we started the show.
Yeah, but that might be between us.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure what I can or cannot say.
Are they still shooting the show?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not before the finale.
Oh my God! And Bailey Madison posted a picture on Twitter today. She's back.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I was gonna say Kurt's coming.
She also had some mental issues.
Yeah.
You guys could bond over that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Your characters.
Right.
We'll go have coffee and talk about
I know, right?
Wait,
Maybe you'll
I
see
want to ask you
her.
guys something. If Nick does come back, right, and he's completely good, and he's like made amends, and he's just, you know, I don't know, he's taking some kind of medication. He's like, he's sweet. He puts on his best suit. He slicks his hair back.
I don't know if I want him with Mariana.
Comes back. She jumped the gun. Are you on a team Matt or team Nick?
I don't think her and Matt. I don't think she wants to be with Matt. Honest to goodness, I don't think that she was honest. I thought when she said, you know, we were ending things, we were saying goodbye. It would be the convenient thing to be with Matt, and I feel like she's better off being alone than being with someone who she's like lukewarm about, you know?
Okay.
I think so too, but I also think that she just really wanted to give Nick a chance, because from when she met Nick to before it went bad, like, he was amazing and just so charming and impressive that, like, I would want to give him a chance too, because I would feel like I would eventually fall in love with him.
Who knows? Maybe they'll bring up the whole thing about dating somebody with
an illness
and a mental illness. I don't know,
Which
and
that's
how
my
you deal with
prediction.
that.
I think for sure we're gonna find out if he's either bipolar, or maybe just like a breakdown. Like, it could have just easily been a simple mental breakdown.
I do not foresee Nick coming back in the sense of like rejoining school and like leading a normal life. I think it's such a massive issue that they wouldn't be able to just have a character that last season he brought a gun to school and this season he's like the prom king.
Right.
You know, like, it just wouldn't track for me.
Right.
I think he would have to like take a break for a while, like go to like a boarding school for a year, be homeschooled, like spend time in like a group home, do something. I don't know that he's ever going to join us on like a day-to-day school basis.
I don't think they would allow him in a school.
I don't know the legality of
atmosphere.
that.
I don't know.
But I do want to see them like focus on Mariana and Nick's relationship if he does come back, like as a friendship, not in a romantic way. But
I'd like to
want,
see that.
yeah,
I think that she's gonna have some sort of an attachment towards him because of what happened. You know?
Yeah, totally.
And not out of pity.
No, out of love. Remember, like, it would have broken her heart, and the way she sat there, her PTSD, you know, was right there, and
Right.
that's heartbreaking. And I think that's what she wants to go see you. I think, like, I would need to talk to you. I would need to know more. What happened? Why did you get there?
Right.
And I think she would want to like help like heal
Right.
Nick
Yeah.
in a sense too. It's gonna be really interesting to see where that relationship goes. We're almost out of time, but thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you so much.
This
Thank
has
you
been
very
so much
for having
fun.
me. Yeah, it has been. It's been great. I'll
Yeah.
do it again anytime.
Oh, fantastic. We'll hold you to it.
Yeah, remember you said that.
If you want to continue the conversation, we know you're new to Twitter. What is that handle?
Oh, it's at Louis_Hunter.
Oh my God, fantastic.
Love it.
Guys, all right, well, this was another great episode. Hannah, where can everybody find you till next time?
y'all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Hotshot Dude.
And I tweet from Jeff Masters 1.
I tweet from Stephanie Giorgi on Snapchat at Stephanie Giorgi, and on Instagram at @TheStephanieGiorgi.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jillian Leff.
We will see you not next week, but the week after that. Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.